Welcome everyone to the 212th weekly MLP live critique stream, whatever it is. It's almost a trope now that I can't get it right.
It's a staple, and I love
it. Okay. So whenever someone else streams, they get it right first bet. I hope so.
I mean,
because that'd be fun.
I have no idea which number we're in.
212.
I'm pretty sure I nailed it. Just saying.
Damn it! I just gotta be as good as Fluffy.
We are on stream.
Yeah,
January.
We're live. As you can hear, we have different voices somewhat today. From the top of the list, there is a cute pencil case.
That's me.
Followed by a Fluffy's eye.
Hello, the raccoon is also here.
And then a Pixinut.
Hello, good morning.
He just woke up.
Yeah.
You might notice an absence of an alley claw. She is spending the day with her Griffith. Her boyfriend. This is his birthday, so happy birthday, Inky. And also, we are hosted by the lovely Living Dead.
Brains.
Brains.
I swear I did not start this virus. So, we got art and lots of it. We're going to do embroidered equations first. Because it looks like they're actually here. Hello, embroidered.
Hello, Em.
So they've asked about shading. They don't have any follow-up questions from our stream last time when we talked about a bit of their shading. So let's just hop on into this one.
So
I have a question for you while you're here. How do these ponies deal with those tails? Because that looks like it's an effort now. Like,
yeah.
It's going to take you hours to comb that thing. Magic?
Yeah,
lots of conditioner.
Lots of conditioner.
Yep. So, like, the first thing I have a problem with after I'm done messing with this tail, is the shading for the mane, so it creates this little tent here. And I totally get it. I totally get why. I like the idea of, like, the mane sort of creating this, like, cover. But, like, this weird little puppy here, it's, like, really hard to make out, as is her face, because everything is so completely shadowed. And part of that, I think, is because of the sketch color and the thinness of the lines. But, like, the lack of detail and the lack of contrast on this creature's colors as well creates a bit of an issue, because it all is very blended in. I didn't even notice that there was something under there at first. And that's just due to a lack of contrast between the values. So even if this is... Oh, I've lost my tablet again. Oops. Even if this dog is in shadow, the dog would still have 3D shape, and there's still ambient light bouncing around the room. There would still be some form of shadows on the dog, just very subtle ones. Wait, let me draw now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, it wasn't anything you did.
Oh, I thought I erased what you were trying to draw. I'm having some control problems. Control Z isn't quite working, and then it works too well.
Oh, what has happened to my pen now?
Just assume you can't unload. You can't back away.
Yeah. On the...
Oh, sorry.
Cover your arm. I don't want to get anything.
Gosh. On the contrast issue, just adding a little bit of rim light around the edge that's, can sort of help break up the thing a bit and add a little bit of contrast so people can see what's going on there.
I'm not quite sure if it's just when they stamped it into the JPEG format that we lost a bit of our difference that happens on this cutie mark, but there's like a scribble or something going over it. I'm not quite sure what's going on that.
Yeah, like a ribbon or something?
Yeah.
If you're going to have a light color on top of a light pony, and this part as well, everything about this, that's even the pencil part, you need contrast around this. So be that you could continue the black outline, or like just around the stuff, just to help, because otherwise we have no idea what we're looking at. It doesn't have to be black, it could be colored outline, but I don't know what this, I'm guessing what this shape is, because I don't know, because it's blended into the body. And it's just a matter of like balancing. It's why in that episode, even though we would established previously that like the like Luna's butt speckles are just part of like a painted design. When we went on to the episode when they switched cutie marks, it had to take the butt speckles with it because otherwise it'd be a white moon on a white pony. Yeah, it is a matter of balancing what you want with how to make it like sharp. The tail as well. I like I like the sort of like messy fuzziness of your tail here, even if it is like LD said, it would be really hard to deal with this. It's I feel like your tails are very too much like a single shape. What this looks like actually. Oh, if I can not do that. Uh, imagine this. Hello, hello. There's a little creature. This is what this is. It's a little fluff friend, and he's coming up behind her to give her a hug. Because that's what my
Oh
brain
no!
is. That's what my brain is seeing right now. There we go. That's the fluff friend. Because like the tail, like we've got her spine going up inside, and then it comes out roughly here. So maybe it's like a little bit too low actually. The tail should come out of here. It has now gotten rid of my color altogether. Why did you just switch colors randomly? Okay, well I'm purple now, I guess. Draw pile. So the tail will be coming roughly out of here, and then it sweeps over. Oh, this needs to have more opacity. Let me erase, please. There we go. That's too much, but whatever. Move. So then, yeah, the tail's coming out of here, and then it's going to sweep down. And obviously, like you're not going for like a swooshy tail, you're going for a scruffy, messy tail, and that's absolutely fine. But you still got to bear in mind that this is the tailbone. This is the tail, the actual tail, going like this. This is the tail, and then all the hair is just coming off of that. So it's just a matter of getting it to have that flow of a scruffy, messy tail, but one that actually has weight and form and comes out of a single point on the tailbone, if that makes sense. And then from there, it's a little bit easier to determine, not totally easy, but easier to determine like where the shading should fall to not make it just look like a sort of splotch. You don't have to go too advanced into like hair forms at the moment, but I think just taking that like consideration to how the hair is forming, where it's coming out, and why, can help a lot with how you sort of understand the construction of things.
Yeah, I can definitely see this shading is definitely improved from the stuff that I was seeing a few months ago even. And like what CPC is doing over here, down here in the
Yeah, super good.
is good. Basically, just a different way to introduce contrast is just to make the background go a bit darker.
Yeah, just don't do as much. Even if you sometimes what I do when there's a big area that's very dark, I make it the same color as the outline because it doesn't need as much detail. And then you can put more detail on the puppy. And to put more detail on the puppy, I would go with light and not shadows. Because he's already pretty dark, so you can just put light wherever light would hit.
Oh, that's nice.
And I would do nicer shading if this program would let me.
See, that's helped now because like the tones, the values, the colors all look very different and distinct, and now it's a lot easier to see. I think what Pixie was saying as well, having like a bit of a light catching puppy as well, a bit more blurred and not as high contrast as this, I think. But like we're limited in the stuff we can do in this program. There is a smudge tool somewhere. I'm trying to find it.
You can also put some light bouncing off of the floor for her back legs and stuff.
Yes.
And maybe not as light, but again, draw pile.
Yeah. You get the draw pile tagline. You get the idea.
The other thing I did was at the top, I did that little sketch. I would put her chest touching the floor. So here it looks to me like her chest is somewhere over here. And I would move it down and put it near the floor so she's a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Because this would make a lot of effort. It's like squatting.
Yeah.
And this way she
Okay.
can just boop the puppy well relaxed.
Yeah. If a pony wants to lay down, that's typically the way that makes the most sense, I think.
For if you need references for this pose, you can look up, for example, play bow, and you'll get a lot of dog poses.
Cute. I don't have anything else.
I don't either. Do you have any further questions for us, Embroidered? Or any questions?
I need to get on the cutter.
Yeah, this is good.
All right.
Good. Keep going.
Let's move on to the next horse. If Cute Pencil Case could just give me back my pen, that would be great.
What did I? Oh, that's Ice. Ice the pen stealer.
No! It's because I'm a raccoon.
I have an innocent
with
mouse.
the eyes.
I don't believe
He's
either
the
of
one
you.
with hands.
We're moving.
We're gonna
over.
move off to the right to the large standing horse with the blue and aquamarine purple mane.
Yes. This is the one I did the bit of a metal study on.
You did a metal study on this one?
On Discord, yeah.
Okay. Is there then? Do you want to go over this one again if you've already done it?
Well, I just changed some of the values of this armor piece, but didn't do much past that.
Okay. Then let's do this. This is by the Exotic Finch, and it's Opinion of Guard. I have no questions in particular.
So I do have something I wanted to point out. I got very confused looking at this initially because, if I can just grab my color, because of this whole thing here, because it is exactly white, or it's pretty much white, and so yeah, what CP says this outline here is difficult because there's just not a
that's
thick enough. Oh, you're pointing to a different thing. Okay.
I was. Okay, you finish yours and then.
Yes, because this is a very thin outline here. That's all that's separating this space from this space. So basically, our brain, or at least my brain, was seeing this as just being like part of the background. So I saw all of this as being like the pony had no body there, you know. So, but then I sort of look closer, like, oh wait, no, that's like a cloth. So all you need to do, just change this. Don't use white. Just make it an off-white, make it grey, make it like slightly tan. I think would look nice with this, just to balance the sort of gold and darks and everything. So I think that would work the best, and it would just help to visually distinct it from being part of the background. There is a paint bucket. What am I doing?
Not using the paint bucket? I don't know.
Yeah, being a fool. Okay.
I'm interested. Is this just like a two-tone horse where this area is not actually just a shadow, it's just a different tone hanging around?
Looks like it might be. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
looks like it.
Because it hangs around on the belly and it has like no overlapping shadows or anything. So shading not a priority on this one. That's okay. I do think I would still take the mane and just amp up what you've done. You've done a bit here where you've done, chunks of building up a body with some shading. I would just crank that up a bit more to give it a bit more depth. Because right now your mane sort of looks like the Play-Doh that is all sort of rubbed together and you start getting the fringing of color. But it's still a solid body. Yeah, and I think that's about it. This is definitively horse. Like, all parts of this look very horse, and it's very well done. You seem to have some pretty good line control. Yeah. Let's just play around a bit more. Anything else from you, lovely folks?
Not that I can.
So So on the, I think they're meant to be folds, but they look more to me like chicken scratches on the. I don't know how these layers work. On the
On this cloth thingy.
this thing, the white thing.
Yeah.
They go
Yeah, I
in
agree.
random directions. So to me, initially it looked like chicken scratches. But if they are folds, it wouldn't fold this way, because when fabric folds, it folds from the pressure point, which should be on his back. So you'd have something like this, maybe.
Mm.
So this would be this point and this point. You don't have any pressure points from the sides, and then you'd be able to see this reflected down here, something like this. It would be like this, but you wouldn't see much on this, on the sides, because there's no pressure there to
Mhm.
bunch up the fabric. And then, especially on this part of the hair, I don't know if this is actually what you did, but it looks a bit in here, like you just did your spikes like this without stopping. And so some of the places are rounded, other places it's like you got to the top and you did this. So what I would say is to make one line, another line, one line, another line. And I think there was other spots, but here was very noticeable where your line just ends near the ear and then starts in the back, and this line goes here and this line goes here. So
Mhm.
this is digital, so you can just
Fix it.
and then there.
Unless if that
You can
helmet
just.
is actually two, like, multiple pieces.
Oh, I see.
Mm.
Because right now I don't quite know how they bend their neck. Because that looks like a solid rib.
Then I would do it this way.
Yeah,
And
separated
this way.
into pizza slices.
So you can see that it's two separate pieces and not why is this piece going over here into his head and this piece just goes into space.
Mm. Yeah, you also got to consider like what happens when they stand up, like what happens when they're not got their neck bent over. So yeah, there needs to be gaps between the armor.
I'll do this probably.
Yeah, robotics and armor and stuff like that is tricky because you do sometimes you can like draw something and be like, yeah, that makes sense, and you realize that like, wait, no, like the default sort of starting position or like the sort of other extreme is supposed to be over here, and like they've got it like this is a position where they've moved from that extreme, so like the armor needs to be able to compensate for that potential movement. So my other thing, just quickly, is like this looks like a tangent here because like there's something that I couldn't stop noticing when I first came the picture. Is just even though I knew I could see what's going on, my brain just constantly wants to go to there's a big white shape here. There's like a white lightsaber stuck in the forehead. partly is do this. Or it's been whoever drew this over here, move the horn, or maybe that's a bit too far, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I
more like this
didn't
third one
do
here.
the cross right. Yeah.
And then partly just have the mane like come over the face, like maybe like a little flick there, just to be cool. Just so then it's coming up behind where this horn is, so then we can see like, oh yeah, there's I can see that there's overlap and overflow. So the horn is like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that makes it flow a little bit better for the readability.
Oh, the other part I was but this one is just which color you chose. I don't know if there's a reason you chose yellow for the saddle. But it looks great here at the top, but then it's lighter than the fill color here and looks a bit weird to me, especially because the inside lines are black, and that's the thing I was pointing at the beginning.
That can sometimes just be an oversight, so I'm not sure if it was a choice or not. But definitely you want to have the outline blacker than the fill color, unless it's not physically possible. In the case of like MLP characters, when they have like the really dark fur, like Thunderlane, they have like a light outline instead.
If you're doing like a ghost character, I also find fun to
Oh,
do a
yeah,
lighter outline, makes them spooky.
Yeah, because it's surreal and unearthly. That's why you want to normally have a darker outline if they are earthly. That's terrible.
Yeah, it has happened to me before where this happens, and normally it's because I did it like the line art in different parts, and then I just filled in the line
Yeah.
art without looking, and it's just
It can happen, like I said. Obviously, the way I'm doing this line is not how you want to do it. I'm just zoomed out and using a program with no pressure sensitivity. Or,
size chicken scratching.
no stabilization and terrible tools. My tablet keeps breaking on me. It happened again. Okay, that's all I had anyway.
All right, shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Let's move to the AJ right to the side of it. This one is by Simon Ming 321. My attempt at Applejack. They have no questions or comments.
So my first advice is to because I don't know, maybe you do use this technique, but I can't see any evidence of it in the sketch. Focus on what I'm doing right now, which is building up a skeleton, because that will be your first step towards establishing consistent anatomy with a picture like this. And you can look up online, like absolutely another point of view, as another piece of advice we always use is references. So get your under sketching going on and get your references up on your screen, and you'll be like so far on the way to drawing. Like we could sit here and go over everything that needs to be fixed. But I think the best thing for you is to just know how to learn and know like what resources you need. And I would say to just look up references, show stuff, movie stuff, other artists' work, whatever it might be, and you can and it can help you a lot in like establishing, because it might be, I don't know, this might not be you, but it certainly was for me at a point, and for many other people as well. You might think, I've seen plenty of MLP, I know how to draw Applejack, I know how to draw the ponies, and then like, I mean, you've done a pretty good job of getting like the main right. I like in terms of like the shape anyway. I struggled with that a lot for a while, but like even now probably, but a lot of the times it's like, well, this looks right, this shape, right? I can't really figure out how I would do it differently. But then you look at actual reference and you copy the reference as you're drawing, and you realize it's like totally different. Um, so just references from the show, from the movie, from other artists, and just do your under sketching, build up a skeleton. You don't need to do anything super intense like professional art. Like if you look up like how to draw stuff, you'll see people doing like full like facial deconstruction and like guidelines and everything. Like, oh, this is like 3/4 of the head, and like you don't have to go that far if that's daunting to you. But just start like with what I'm doing now, which is just to have circles, lines. This little plus helps you determine like where the face is going. Like you can have it more of a 3/4 angle like that, or you could have it a little bit more side view like you've got it originally. It just really helps you to determine where the face is going, and then from there you can draw your apple pony. But it will help a lot in establishing the like where you need to go with the construction, like where's this neck? Oh, I know, because I've got the construction lines telling me where the spine is. You know, and these circles helping me form that beautiful pony bean, the bean body that we love so much.
Yeah,
references.
what he's been saying. He's got this.
Yeah.
We've all got this.
We get this.
I just wanted to set LD off.
And
We've all got this together.
and just keep drawing. 'Cause
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
all this sort of stuff, like you can see over here. I think CPC. This is CPCs, and they've drawn like a
That's me.
super amazing pony. Yay! And Fluff over here, drawn like just sketched out this super amazing body like it's nothing. That'll just come with practice, and
Absolutely.
as you sort of sketch more with references, you'll get a better idea of sort of how things should look, and you'll
Yeah.
just sort of start to improve over time.
Yeah. Like I didn't start drawing this on top of nothing. You saw me do like the under sketching and everything, and that like the point of what I was saying is that's the guide that I was using. So it helps a lot to have that like starting point. But some people are just amazing and can draw like straight out of the gate with nothing. But you don't have to be one of those people. It's not like cheating or like falling short to not to use references and guides like this. It's pretty much required. Like don't be silly and make it hard on yourself by refusing to do that. So just yeah, you've already, like Pixie said, you draw more. You're already doing what you should be doing. You're drawing, and that is the most amazing part. So many people get sort of caught up on that part alone. So just keep at it, keep practicing, and you will see improvement. Just looking at references and things that inspire you will be a huge part of that battle.
Totes my goats. All right, you want to move on to the next one? It's LD.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
That's cute.
All right, let's move all the way over to the left with the Luna.
That's a cute mouse.
Which side is left? The other side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you
It's
flip
the
your
opposite one
canvas?
from where you are. No, just her brain.
Okay. Is this like because you're over in Europe, you're not quite sure
I was gonna say-
what's left and right?
No, it's like how Pixie's in the southern hemisphere. So it's like upside down for him. CPC is just somehow in like left to right backwards now.
It's a
Ooh.
Inverted equations made it funny. If it's a door, where's the door? If it's adorable, where's the door?
There it is.
There you go. Okay, so this picture is by Noodle12310. Second try on pony things, and honestly, I'm very proud of this, but I feel like shoes aren't right, so if you could maybe help with those.
Glitter. Yeah, these are tricky. I had to use references like abundantly when I first drew the shoes. Actually, this might not be the specific shape of Luna's shoes. I know this is how like Celestia's ones look. I don't know if they have different shapes. But they have well, Celestia's are actually more like a fleur-de-lis. The shape that's like it's like this. So that, yeah, this is what up at CBC's mouse at the top. There's references. So just get up a picture of Luna and her shoes, and you can do what you want to do is just get a piece of paper.
So
That's not this one, and then just draw just draw the hoof. Just go. Oh, I've lost my pen. I flipped the canvas. I flipped it back. We're all good. So just draw a hoof, and then your hoof is gonna have some shoes. And if you don't like how those shoes look, then you can try it again. Just right next to it, like, oh, here's another hoof. And here's another hoof, and I'm gonna try the shoes again. So this time I'm gonna have like a little base there. Yeah, and just keep practicing, not on top of your drawing like I'm doing. Do it like on a completely separate piece of paper and just practice doing this little thing. And when you've got it just right, then you can translate that to your main drawing.
So just a quick thing. This isn't actually Luna. It is Princess Muna. And that distinction has been made
I thought
even
it was
in the
just a
comments.
nickname.
No, it's a different princess.
A more glittery princess.
More. I didn't even think that was possible, but here we are. We have a glittery princess. And a more
Yeah.
glittery princess.
I was just sort of trying to define the shapes between the two, like the shoes, because I feel like they're different shapes.
Yeah.
So that means that you could probably be creative with yours as well. You can, I do, you've got a fine shape going on here. If you wanted to be creative with how the shoes are shaped, since it is a unique character, you can absolutely do that.
So
Yeah, hooves are always a difficult difficult shape to get.
definitely good use on your references here. We can see the difference between this one and your last one. Major steps forward. Honestly, at this point, focus more on just trying to pound down the pony. Gross. On trying to get the pony anatomy correct.
Nice save.
More towards what the show is would be my suggestion, because it's at least a built-up reference. And
Yeah.
then break off from there when you're feeling a little more comfortable in what show style is, break off from there and start
Yeah.
adapting your own sort of, you know what, I really like how this artist does this, and you know, I don't like the horn. I kind of want them going directly out from the nose. I'm going to slap the style tag on that and call it mine. You know, things like that. Give
I
it
1000% agree. Yeah.
So my biggest suggestion for you is just draw more. If this is your second horse, go draw 10 more. Go draw 100 more. See what you come up with. It's going to take a while to get very used to the mediums you're using and very used to the characters you're drawing before you can start pounding them out quickly and just getting horses down on paper. It's the same with any character. Just you got to do it a lot to get there. So my suggestion, draw more, use your references.
Yeah. An exercise that I really like is, and it's really fun for me, is to pull up a reference image, give myself 5 minutes, and then try to just draw as much of it as I can. You know, start off with the really big shapes, and then sort of just go down from there, and then see how it goes. And if it looks not good, then in 5 minutes I'll have a new drawing to start, and I won't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like you're in no rush to go anywhere. So just draw for fun, draw for yourself, draw what you want to do, and just draw lots because you're already on the right track, I think.
Keep drawing for fun.
And if you're going, well, I don't know what to draw, go look on our sideboard and you'll find a list of bi-weekly challenges. They've started up again recently by I don't know, some crazy person.
Some weirdo.
Some weirdo on an internet forum. Yeah, they've started up again. They have a whole bunch of lessons on doing different stages of art and different approaches to it and sort of making you just do something. And they're useful. They're great. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest doing them. Do them all. Right now.
Yeah.
Don't sleep. Just art. So next.
Draw in your sleep.
Draw in your sleep.
Draw in your
Just
sleep.
ask my pillow. It's covered in drool. That is me drawing, right? Next horse up is Hant Great. Ponytails and I miss. You guys gotta try slightly harder with the questions here. I am lost.
So I get this is probably an aspect of the character design because it's very deliberate. But what is going on with the eyes here? I want to know because you got one that's like black people and white outline, and then the other one's opposite. But because they're so wide, it was very hard for me to see this little white bit at first, and I kind of just saw one eye as being completely black, just from a distance. So I would like maybe just move the pupils, make them a little bit smaller, so that way you can like very obviously see this like inversion, like this.
Yeah,
There we go.
definitely.
It just helps a little bit. I don't know if they got like a yin yang curse or something going on. As a very like we've critiqued some extreme tails before. We even talked about embroidered equations tail earlier, but this tail is like a friggin' banner. This is
it's gonna cause a lot of drag. Let's be honest.
Just imagine them walking down the street and they got this tail like pulling behind them, and it's just like a giant like snake following them, which is this huge tail, and everyone has to like give them a wide berth as they're walking down the street, dragging this tail behind them. It's lovely. It's a beautiful, pretty tail. I love the sort of design you've got going on here, but it is absolutely immense.
Yeah. Keep an eye on just like where your tails start, because this tail is sort of starting down here, and it doesn't really make as much sense if it's starting like sort of. You got the spine coming like around the back, and the tailbone sort of comes off the back of the spine, and so it feels like the tail would be like somewhere around about there and sort of come out from that point a little bit more.
Watch the consistency between your sizes, because this back leg here is a little bit too small, considering how the front leg is. In fact, I've just overbalanced it a little bit too much, but you get the idea. Draw power, you get the idea. In fact, these front legs are also also a bit too big as well. If you're looking at like the consistent size between all of them, again, you've got to imagine the pony walking down the street, dragging this huge tail behind them. If they got like two massive front hooves and then like a back leg that's like normal size and a back leg that's tiny, they're going to be having a hard time walking down the street. Maybe it's actually a part of their character design. Maybe they actually have some kind of like genetic thing where like one leg is really small and the back and the front legs are like they like Build-A-Bear plushie legs and they're huge and they have like giant like Princess Ferrari wings and a huge tail. It could be their character. I don't know.
I actually like the size of the front hooves. I think they're good.
Yeah, I like the giant wings as well. Whoa,
I know.
is that LD rage quitting or was it CPC destroying her room?
What? I'm not rage quitting.
What was that huge crash?
Why are you now 6 kilometers away from the microphone? Jeez, what have you been doing?
I'm sorry.
I like the color combo. It's an interesting mix of stuff. It looks cool, and that photo background looks really interesting and good.
I am
You
gonna
could
agree.
maybe push. No, sorry. You could
Sorry.
maybe push the lighting a little bit more, and just sort of introduce a little bit of different tones into it.
Yes.
Definitely agree with Maze. Making that mane go behind. Because right now it doesn't make sense for how they're moving. Looks like they're flying forward based on their tail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the mane looks like they're flying, unless they're like spinning in a circle. I don't know.
Drifting.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
All right,
They're
let's...
up in the air. There's all kind. You know what's in the sky? Wind. Lots of it.
Next horse.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. The little mouse beneath it.
Yep.
This one is by Mr. Hootman. And it says repair time. And I have no questions in particular either. So let's go on this horse. First thing I noticed is all the ends of your lines are just like round. Makes me think there's no pressure sensitivity going on. Wondering why that is. If you're using a drawing tablet, I don't know many that don't have pressure sensitivity in this world. I know I had one back when I was a kid that didn't.
Wow.
It was made by 3M. You know,
I
the
don't even know what
paper
that
and
is.
like ink company, and they make stickers and stuff, medical supplies.
Huh.
They made drawing tablets.
Paper stickers and medical supplies.
Yeah, they make
Yeah,
stuff.
bit of a leap there.
They are a big company. But
So
they make...
I do some, especially Telegram stickers. I do them without pressure sensitivity, just because I think it works better.
Mm.
I try to use a smaller brush, and I put my. So what I do is I put a very high stabilization even though I'm using a tablet screen, and just be very patient with the lag. And I use a lot of thinner lines, and I always make sure that in places like this I'm doing what I was explaining before, where I do this and then I do this, and it's like one line at a time. So this pen right now shouldn't have pressure sensitivity if I know how. Yes. So this pen doesn't have pressure sensitivity. So if you don't want to use pressure sensitivity, you can still do it. You just need to be confident and do one line at a time.
That is an interesting piece of history there, embroidered equations. I did not know that was the reason sticky notes exist today.
If you look at the undersketch that our wonderful Zai has done, these two shoulders sort of start out and then go into the middle. That's just because you've got the whole pony in the middle, and then their shoulders sort of connect on the sides.
Yes. It's a bit hard to see, so I'm just going to turn this up.
Nope.
And they're back.
All right. Shall we move on to the next horse?
Yeah, I think I've given all I can in my blue and green lining.
Yeah.
All right. We got this cutie patootie.
Is there a CPC mouse just saying chips?
I
I've got some of the
forgot.
clothes if you want.
No, I just want chips. Dang it. All right. This is by Dizzy Drizzled. No, Dizzy Drizzled. Been depressed lately, though wanted to earn in-game currency through commissions, so decided to draw something real quick to update my portfolio. Hope you like. Totally do. It's adorable. There's a lot of...
It's super cute.
You've hit a lot of notes on adorability. Larger head ratio to body, shiny
What a
everything.
cute little blush,
Huge eyes.
little freckles. She's like a strawberry.
Yeah.
Is this like part of like highlights and shine, all these little notes you've got, or is this like the part of the coloring, like having lighter
I
spots?
think it's shine if you look up here. Oh no, I
Yeah.
broke my thing. Here.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it might be shine.
I
I
have
could
a
also see it
pointer?
being body color. I'm not. So I'm
Oh,
not
I
so
found a pointer. Sorry.
sure.
Yeah, no, this horse is really cool. It's really cool, and I like them.
Yeah, so you don't have to do this at all. What I would do in this situation is just like focus on the hoof having this like bend here, because it's got like the all of their weight supported on it essentially. The back leg is kind of for balancing. This front leg is going to have this huge bend in the hoof. What I sort of picked up, the hoof shape that I do now is partially based off of Sophie Cabra. They have like a very simplistic style for their legs, but they always have this nice like bendiness on the hooves, where like it's stretched out from the like weight of where they're pressing on. So that's sort of what I'm sort of emulating here. But it would definitely help to show like, yeah, this pony is planted very firmly on this hoof of theirs. But yeah, it is a stylistic thing, and you absolutely don't have to adhere to that if you don't want to.
Yeah, don't be too scared about pushing the angles a little bit more as well. Like in this front hoof, it just makes it look
Yeah.
a little bit more interesting.
It's
And
a
instead
very
of this-
round hoof.
Yeah,
Looks like
and
there's no
instead of the,
bones.
back hoof, it just like having this bit of a shape just makes the whole thing feel a little bit more grounded.
I think this pony needs little hearts in its eyes.
Absolutely. That's the only thing they're missing.
If you want to just amp up that little cuteness, because it's just a small little bean of cute. And that sells well, because that sounds like what you're looking to do. If you were to put this as a base, stick it up on the YCH site, you'd probably get a few hits without a problem.
Yeah. I would move the tail up a little bit, because where you've got it coming out now, it's coming out of a very awkward place, and really the tailbone is here. This is their tail sticking out, so the tail is going to be coming out of this part right here.
No
It's something we see a lot of the time, and it's easy enough to fix, because all you have to do is just lasso tool this, assuming you're not using draw pile, and or assuming you're not using Aggie, and then just move the tail up here. Otherwise, it's absolutely fine.
All right,
Oh,
shall we
little
move on
mouth.
to the next one?
Yum.
Gotta be
Yes.
careful of mice chewing on your ears.
See, she looks like she reminds me of like strawberries and cream.
she looks like a cheesecake. Oh.
Yeah, she does. She reminds me of a strawberry cheesecake, and I love cheesecake, as I have established with my raccoon OC and art of him adoring cheesecake.
I'll take a cheesecake.
I need to learn how to make it.
I hear you
It
can make them.
involves gelatin. It's a pain.
Oh, I
That's my
sh-
experience.
Let me grab the, because I hear there's instant pot cheesecake that's very good. I should try that one day. Instant pot cheesecake. Anyway, the next next horse up, and in fact our last horse in our lineup here, is by Lexi Sketch. I didn't do lined drawing a lot, so I tried it out with mine and my boyfriend's OC Blue Iris and Cotton Candy.
This almost reminds me of the height difference between me and my last girlfriend. It is super cute though. I love seeing people drawing interaction. I love the hand holding. You've done the hands very well, considering they are a bane to draw. I do have to point out she's a little bit behind where he is. Like we're looking at like the center of the gravity. So like she's a little bit behind, so he's actually sort of having to look over his shoulder specifically at her. If that's what you're trying to do, then that's great. I do feel like it would make a little bit more sense to have them actually like standing next to each other, so you'd have the hooves more like this. And that way it's just like a little bit more comfortable of a pose. And then when we're drawing in 2D, and it's really easy to just like put things together and have them, and they sort of make sense. But think about stuff in a 3D position, which is difficult for this sort of anatomy, I think. But and especially for characters standing next to each other, because you think it'd be easy to draw things like aligned then, because then they're next to each other. But then it sort of becomes about subtleties, and it's a bit more difficult to not let something fall out of line. I would put some shading. I'd probably strengthen the shading first of all, but I'd definitely put more shading like on the wing where her arm is here, because it's blending into the wing a little bit too much. So just something to like help it separate. And I think there would be shadow falling here anyway. This whole inside of the wing technically is like, if the light source is coming from this way, actually no, I'm not sure. It might be coming from the front. It's kind of hard to tell. But this way you can have the hand show up. You've actually drawn hands successfully. You should show them off. This is a mess. Don't look at what I'm actually doing.
I'm looking.
Just figure it out.
I'm looking.
Yeah, so some just like I probably overdone it a lot, but just some shading inside the wing to help highlight the body. It wouldn't be messy like this. Your shading is actually smooth and competent. But we're using draw pile. So again, draw pile. You get the idea.
Is that its new slogan?
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's good. We're constantly having to explain that, like, we can't exactly show what we're trying to accomplish. But yeah,
We just like.
I'm not sure. I feel like the other arm should be a little bit more lax. It would be more like this.
Yeah, I've just moved the belt buckle over, and it's a really small thing, but
Yeah.
what it does show is it sort of indicates where the center of sort of the whole body is, and if it's over here, it just like sort of looks a little bit confusing, but having it be a little bit on the center line just sort of reinforces this whole rib cage sort of thing up here. This sort of indicates, yep, this is all on the same axis and stuff.
No, I wasn't thinking this as a dress. I thought it was a overall. I don't want to walk around with this dress.
Yeah, that looks really difficult to walk in. I thought it was like a bodysuit as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it's very, very
You'd be
stretchy.
tiptoeing. Yeah, maybe. Even then, it would feel like you were basically being tied up in a body bag.
Some people like that.
We're
Don't
not
kink shame.
shaming. Ow. Okay. Don't mind me, I was just getting a leg cramp.
Are really super duper huge.
I am looking at the shading, and it looks like the shading was mostly an afterthought. Because you got, like, some lines just tossed in on the wings here.
Yeah.
Like, the horse over here looks very good, though, with the shading overall, like, just the subtle shading that's hanging around there for cell shading. I would almost just leave it off the wing, or just do a few primary feathers and call it a day. Just lightly tossing it in there almost distracts from what's going on. Especially for just how clean it is on the other horse.
It is sometimes there are these situations where it's like you should either go all in or not at all. So like either no shading whatsoever, or like, seriously put some time into it, because yeah, if you just sort of go halfway, then it doesn't really work. And yeah, like I said, I would definitely put some shade in here, strengthen it from just being these little twiddly lines that LD was pointing out to being something a little bit more substantial, just to help establish the shape a bit more and to help outline the arm, separate it. Oh, and you can also put some like highlights. Like I'm normally too afraid to do shading in my day-to-day drawing life, like just because I've become just a bit of a chicken and too lazy. But you could definitely do highlights, and what that means is then you can do some highlights in the body as well, and they could just be subtle. If I just color pick first, that'd be easiest. Yeah, just subtle things, but you can outline this arm a little bit. So I'm just trying to think of ways to separate this arm. Okay, it's blending into the wing a bit too much. We can do this not as messy as I'm doing it, obviously, but again, draw pile. It can just be a bit of an edge just to help show. And again, I feel like your light source is coming from front on like this. If this was like a 3D arrow, maybe, because I keep wanting to do it coming from the side, but that's not. I don't think that's what you're doing. But it's really hard to determine actually where the shading is coming from, where the light is coming from, and I think that's something that needs to be like established more cleanly.
All right. You folks have anything else to say about this horse?
Nope.
I see circling of hand.
So I think he'd look a bit something when I was trying to draw humans. I noticed that most people won't carry their shoulders at the same level, especially with him leaning towards her. One shoulder would be higher and the other one lower, so this line here. And then that would translate to the hands too, so this one would be lower and this one would be higher, and I did an attempt at a hand that went very well.
Okay. As someone who had a girlfriend who was much shorter than him, I constantly was having to walk in this position, like leaning down to like reach her because she refused to move her arm up.
Just onto your back, you carry around like a backpack. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean she made me carry her a lot too, so but more like princess style.
And then on her shoulders, I'm imagining she's like I'm making shoulder movements that you can't see. She's more tense, so both her shoulders are up, but this one looked a bit disconnected from the actual shoulder. There was like the neck, then a line, then the shoulder. And I think you just go from the neck directly to the shoulder.
Yeah.
And that's it.
All right. Does anyone else have any other art they'd like to have us critique? Any other questions they'd like to ask? Otherwise, you know that game where we see you again next week.
You're about to lose us.
We might even have a mid-week art stream because we're bored and a lot of people are home.
Yeah.
I'm not home. I'm in a single room.
We have a thing from Flare Horizon.
Oh.
What?
Things, Flair.
What?
Oh,
Yeah, there have been rumblings of doing art streams with Ali, so that should be a fun thing we might be doing later. I've fallen so far off the art wagon because I just wanted I was sort of laid out with some migraines for a bit, so I just wanted to hide in the corner of my room, and ever since then with all the stuff going on, I just don't want to get up and be responsible, even though I should. I'm like, I need to get back into drawing. So yeah, live streaming, we might do it.
All right. What questions do you have for us? I don't suppose you could critique the placement of the legs and wings on this. I'd like to know where I might be going wrong.
Oh, that's what that crashing sound is. It's CPC leaving the thing.
I'm sorry, I'm not leaving anything.
And then the ding.
My internet is abandoning me.
That's such a confusing sound effect because I literally thought that it was like someone like coming from someone's mic, like like a door was slamming somewhere.
I just disabled. I just killed all those. It's not allowed noises.
I will say, really nice job for going for such an interesting dynamic pose. Looks good.
So I feel like this leg is missing a shoulder here. It's gonna
Mm.
if they're going for the classic tucked up pose, it'd be more like this. Oh,
Yeah, it's mostly sort of this line. Having this line like bend
Yeah.
so much indicates that it's like connecting here when it like is a little bit further in.
the back legs I think are mostly fine. I can't really see anything at fault with them.
Mm.
It's really just this one leg needs to have some more. That's a horrible color to be drawing in. Just to have some nice. Well, this is not good. You can imagine what it would look like if a good artist was drawing it. But there we go. It's,
You're a great artist. Stop that.
looks looks something like this.
So homie, I'll grab a pillow and start bopping you.
Yeah, if anything with these bottom hooves, it might be or legs. It might be good to just introduce a little bit more variety to them. So like have one going down like this, and then the other one sort of just a little bit pushed out, so it's shown a little bit more.
So I don't have like a there's not many like big glaring things other than what we pointed out. The CBC's connection. Oh my god. But I do have a question, and that's like, well, this is obviously like a cleanly done like computer digitally drawn line art. But did you have much in the way of like a sketch, an under sketch, a skeleton, and stuff like that? That's what I would like to ask of you, because there's just like a lot of it that I feel just sort of it's just a case of subtleties in terms of neatness. Like all these lines I can tell are like they don't have any tapering on them. You obviously didn't draw this with a tablet, which leads me to think it's like a more of a vector. I mean, I can see there's like differences in line weight, but the line doesn't have like that stroke weight to a lot of it. And it especially in areas like this, there's like a lot going on in this whole area here, and it's very hard to sort of discern like a lot of the shapes in this sort of messiness. And I think it's just a matter of I can't even erase the circle now. What's going on? Having like an under sketch to really like establish where everything is, and B just really zooming in and getting that like fine detail of how the lines are constructed. Aha, you have shared a bit of the under sketch. That is helpful. Let me just see this. It's just something that comes with time, really. Oh yeah, there we go. And just translating to lines. I think I do sort of want to say that the lines are a little bit too thick. I think I'm not sure if they actually are, but there's definitely something. This is reminding me. It's just especially around. Oh, that's white. Especially. Drop out. No, don't flip the canvas upside down. No, don't flip it horizontally. I'm just gonna work horizontally now. Especially this whole area here around the eye and the ear and the hair and the wing. Like all of this, I feel like it's just like a little bit visually confusing. And it's just reminding me of like old art that I did once. I mean, not to say like I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's just reminding me of a specific instance of stuff that I have done, where I was like, you know what, I feel like these lines are a bit like getting confused, and it's just a matter of like these eyes could be filled in. Obviously, that's just something you hadn't done yet. Just stuff like that, and just a matter of like everything being neatened up a bit. I can see you've got a lovely under sketch going on, so that's great. It's just a case of, I guess, just drawing lots and looking at references and helping to neaten up where everything is placed. Like this ear, actually, now that I'm looking at it, no, how do I change color? There we go. This ear is currently like this. The temple is like right over the eye, whereas really it needs to be more at the side of the head over here. So we're going to move this ear like this, and it's going to still lean into the mane. It's perfectly fine to have the line like continue. Whoa, let me have my pen again. No, why have you gotten rid of? Okay. Have the line flow. That's absolutely fine. It's just a case of moving it over so that, I'm going to turn this up so we can see what we're doing. There we go. And then the mane will come out like this. I mean, not exactly. You can get it to look in the style that you want it to be. Yeah, it's just a matter of trying to get everything to flow around one another and not be confused. And I think having a very uniform line weight, which you do have a very consistent line weight across the whole thing, sometimes that can actually work in like detriment and end up making things look a little bit harder to read. So I would say, I guess, just like, I don't know if you use a tablet or not. You can tell me, since you're here. But just getting more zoomed in, working in closer detail, and just working much more close up to get everything a bit more neatly arranged, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't mind the position on this back hoof that you've got, and this front one where it was in sort of the under sketch, shifted over towards this a little bit more. I think that goes well.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
It's almost a little bit of like foreshortening, which is difficult to do. But...
Yeah, it's very difficult. So Flair says, "Yep, I use a tablet. I've been trying to find a good line weight for a while now. It is definitely like I don't think it's weird at all to spend a lot of time trying to find line work. Even for like most of my time drawing, I didn't realize I was using like my whole pen settings, everything about my pen settings was sort of working against myself. And that, like, even just recently I've changed how my pen works on Clip Studio Paint, and it's been a change for the better, definitely. But sometimes you don't know, and it does take time. You can't just like set a setting, do some scribbles, say, yeah, I like that. Like, you can tell if there's something immediately wrong, but then it just takes drawing and over the time getting used to being like, you know what, I don't like how this works, or I don't like how this controls. For me in particular, I had on like the pen settings, oh, I can't draw, it's not letting me. Okay, you got like a graph, and you'll have the pen line going like this. I had my pen set to go like this, which means like the more, like, at first I was getting very little pressure to size. So like I'd have to push really hard to get in kind of line weight, and that was good for like details and stuff, but it was becoming, I basically had to be doing a lot of work with very specifically getting the line weight just right with my pressure. So I had to be very exact, and it was becoming very difficult. So what I did is I actually recently, I can't erase this now. Thanks, Trapal. Um, I, I tried. I wanted to have two pens. I wanted to keep that pen for details and have a main one for lining that was actually this way, so it would get faster quicker. When I held down pressure, so it would get bigger faster quicker. It would get bigger more easily with only a short amount of pressure. But I ended up just using that as my main. Like that's just become my main lining tool now. Whoops, I'm upside down again. I can't figure out how to erase this now.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of like playing around with settings. Sometimes you might try something and be like, oh, actually, I really like this. Or sometimes you might have different pens for different things, but definitely worth going in. I know I used to hate line art so much. It was like the most tedious part of the drawing, and there's so many points where I just didn't want to finish something because the next thing I had to do was line art, and I'm like, ugh. But I've recently come into a technique I accidentally discovered that I really like, and I actually I didn't like line art because it was too tedious and required too much work, right? But now I put more work into line art, but it's way more fun, and I actually love doing it now. Part of it is finding the right pen, part of it is just finding the right lining technique, and it's just a matter of discovering, I guess. So just drawing and just experimenting and trying things.
Yeah, I still hate line art, but I think that something that sort of has helped me with get a bit more familiar with my settings and how I need to adjust them is I'll just like open up a page, put my pen onto some really obvious color, some binary pen usually, and then just draw all over that and not worry too much about being clean or exact or that sort of stuff. Basically, like sort of what you're doing with your undersketch, but just like make sure it's really opaque, really obvious, and then just do a full page of that, and then see how it goes, and then you can adjust from there. With this back wing, what I've put it like over here a bit more. I've mostly just like looked at where does sort of her spine go. So like this line is the front of her face. The back of her face is sort of like down here, and then it sort of goes down here. That's where the tail comes out of, all that sort of stuff. And this is sort of where her wings come out from, almost like a line somewhere around about where her shoulders. And so it's just like roughly take that, do a little bit of a swishy swish that goes through that point, and then that's sort of like the action line of like whereabouts I think the wings should go. That's kind of my rough process.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do some sketching. My pen is huge now. My pen is too small now. One problem after another. Now I need a different color. Let me switch. Okay. I'm just sort of going over just on kind of because it's hard to like draw over a sketch and not have it become a huge mess. So I'm just doing some little sketching on the side here. Yeah, so you want to get that flowing, nice flowy mane, and you gotta have like the cheek squish, the chubby cheeks. I mean that's a stylistic thing. You don't have to, but do it. You do have to. That's fine. There we go. I'm just doing some sketching. Just give you. This is obviously in my own style. You don't have to listen to this at all. You can like, Zai, gross, go away. But that's fine.
Yeah, the rotation of the body does make it a bit difficult, but I think you've done a pretty good job here. I might, to be honest, push this shoulder over a little bit more, so that it's more. That's sort of the center line of the body, with that shoulder being over here, the shoulder being over here. Whenever I do my sort of critiques on the subreddit, what I do is I usually switch to a separate channel, a separate layer, and then do my sort of underlying anatomy in a greenish sort of color, and draw a little bit of a ribcagey sort of thing, and then some like rough hips that sort of just indicate some stuff, and that's really helped me out in terms of trying to understand how my things are twisting and bending, because that's like a lot of the challenge of doing the dynamic poses for me is like getting everything to look like it's well connected, and so just doing simple breakdowns of stuff underneath is really good. Actually, if you're in our Discord,
I think they are. The name's familiar. Yeah, it's they say also that downright armor I tried to get right multiple times and I kept looking every time, saying the rotation of the body made it quite hard for me with the placement of the limbs. It can be very, very difficult to do a certain pose, and it doesn't necessarily mean that like either the pose is wrong or that you're not like in any way good enough. Sometimes stuff just takes multiple attempts, even like redoing it from scratch, like figuring it out from different angles first to get it right. And it can be very, very tricky to get certain poses right. Sometimes you are going to be doing a pose where you're kind of working against yourself, and that just happens. But if you really do want to do the pose, nothing is wrong. There's no wrong answer. You're just like, it's just a case of how much time you need to spend trying to figure out what you're doing and how it all works together. But just absolutely keep at it if that's what you want to accomplish. There's nothing wrong with what you're trying to do. Also, yes, it's hard not to lurk, after you've said anything not said anything for a while. It's like, oh, but now I can't just come in and be like, yo, what's up? But absolutely, just go in there right now and say, yo, what's up? It's fine. We're very friendly, and we love having people in the group. You don't have to be afraid. We're not going to bite your heads off.
Like I give just dump pictures in the art channel. That's good. I just in the voice chat channel link you some stuff that's been useful for me, and the life drawing challenge in the subreddit is also pretty useful for like getting poses down and sort of understanding a little bit more of sort of the underlying anatomy, or at least they have been for me. There's a
What is he drawing CPC?
comic going
LD,
on
please show this on the stream.
Absolutely. Let me just. Oh my god. Oh my god.
CPC trying to figure out foreshortening has made another nightmare.
This last pony has been me getting distracted. I started drawing some fluff on the pony, and then I got distracted with the fluff balls on the side.
You were just drawing hooves, so I did the hashtag.
And then I
for
did
hooves.
hoops.
And then one of the hooves has become a nightmare, apparently.
I like the middle one. The middle hoof worked
Yeah, that
out.
one's good. That one's good. That's
Yeah,
why I
they're
was like the
ridiculous.
hoofs.
The middle hoof worked out, and then I
Yeah.
tried to make it extra, and then it became very extra.
Like there has to be a pony version of the show feet guy, not show hooves guy.
All right.
The hooves wiki.
You got any more questions for us, Flair? Anyone else have any art they'd like critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask? Any other
No.
hoof ponies? Just ponies completely made of hooves.
We've done that before.
I think we have.
Oh no. Also, we draw
Somewhere in the streams, there's the hoof OC, where there's hoofs coming out of every.
No, embroidered. I used the forbidden words to summon her. I thought she makes ponies of everything. This is something you don't want to do.
Yes. Draw a pony of it.
God. She's already doing that.
Hey, how come the hoof isn't very fluffy? I think it should be fluffier.
It is CPC. We haven't had any CPC fluffing.
How would you do the
Well, I
eyes?
started.
apart
there's,
from
there's like 1,000 circles on the side because I started doing fluff and then I got distracted.
apart from the literal fluff balls you've drawn.
with eyes, what I tend to do is I tend to like look at the face. That's a pretty bad face, but sort of draw some circles. The closest one is usually like a bit more of a circle, and the further away one is like a little bit more of like just a squished circle.
Yeah,
like,
so yeah, when there's third
Same.
quarter, there is something to remember is like Pixie's drawing here, they will have the same height but different widths when you're doing third quarter. This one, the pony is looking quite towards us, so like it's a little bit third quarter, so you could do that foreshortening a little bit, but like this is an extreme example that Pixie is drawing just to show you how to do this properly. When it comes to actually like the irises and pupils, I'm not sure, like you saw sort of me drawing some eyes before. I sort of adopted a bit more of a sort of a triangular approach to the actual eye. I like them starting at the nose bridge and then going outwards. And when it comes to the pupils and iris, I literally just do this. Like, okay, here's the eye. That's literally all I do. And then, I mean, obviously with like a nicer line because I'll be doing line art. But I actually do the iris line. I had the iris line and the pupil in like the line art folder, and I had like the highlights in the wrong place and everything was really badly arranged, and I had like the eye highlights were on top, so then I had to have them like on top because these were in the line art later. Now I do them in the color. I have a whole section just for the eye, so I'll actually just have
eye
wait, let me
sockets.
erase this now, thanks Drawpile, but my eye in the line art would just look like this, just with just the eye on its own, and then in the color folder I will make a whole folder for the eyes. I'll just do iris lines and it'll be like boom, and I'll do the pupil and it'll just be like on a different layer. It'll be like this, and I do the coloring. As like I have like, if I do a like really simple picture, there might be like 3 or 4 or maybe like 5 layers of the line art, and then actually, oh yeah, that was visible. So did everything I do just show up on the stream? I might have like 5 layers of the line art, and then like the body. Like the inner ear, I have a separate thing which really doesn't need to, but whatever. Like cutie mark and stuff like that, like the mane, and then I'll have like 20 layers for the eyes.
Yeah, but they mentioned they're mostly like talking about the eye sockets and that sort of thing. They're like this sort of big overall shape. What I tend to do I'm not like amazing at the getting variation in sort of my eye shapes, but what I tend to do is I tend to start off with just a circle, just as a bit of a rough placement for
Yeah,
eye goes
it
here,
helps to get the placement down.
and then over the top I sort of just try out a bunch of different sort of shapes and sort of just see what like works best for that pony, or if they already have like a eye shape, then try to do something like roughly similar to that. But like starting off with the circle as your base, because like if nothing else, that's sort of the space that the eyeball will take up underneath.
Yeah.
Is a good reference point. And
Yeah,
if you really want to dig into sort of eye shapes and that sort of thing, what I'd suggest is just draw up a very simple base head, with a muzzle. Keep it, simple, whatever, and then just copy that across like 10 times.
Yeah.
And then on a separate layer, just like draw a bunch of different eye shapes, and then
yeah, I've done that before as well.
Good practice.
And like, there's a whole sort of thing to go into with like 3D shape of the skull and like construction of that and how to make the eyes look like actual eye shapes, not like stickers. But that's a whole other like 3D anatomy lesson. It's like best to work up to that sort of thing. I'll go keep Bensuke's doing down here. Very toony eyes. Just experiment and explore, really, and like look at references. Like the eyes I do now, just because I saw an artist that did like a very particular, like very angular sort of eye shape. I was like, I like these eyes. I'm gonna do them now. Now I do eyes like that. After
I
much
like
practice,
round
of
eyes. They're
course.
very flexible. They can do anything. They can become triangles.
Yeah, take CPC's inspiration down here. Well, it's going slightly off the canvas now, but you get the point. Well, you don't really, because you can't see it, because LD needs to scroll down, but...
What?
Jeez, LD.
Why would I scroll?
We just, our drawing is just like uncontrolled, and we just keep going off the canvas.
Sorry, it's cropped at different points. The OBS is actually a different crop than what I see on my screen, so I still see it on the screen.
Right.
Can you ponify a Contigo water bottle? I just want to see what you can do. Use the...
I think you'll need to type the name of that, because us Aussies don't know what Contigo is.
It's just a water
I
bottle.
don't know what Contigo is, and I'm not in Australia.
Can you ponify a drawing tablet?
I think they did already.
Did they?
I think that's the thing. That's the thing that they did.
Oh.
Jeez, not even keeping track of.
No, I'm not. All right, shall we?
If you look at, I was just gonna say, if you look at CPC's eyes here, they're like amazing.
Yeah, just that's enough said.
It's like pretty clear that a lot of them are very similar shapes, as in like underneath it, it's the same shape, and it's just different expressions and that sort of stuff. And that's really cool. I like that.
All right. Are there any more questions? Any other art people would like?
Can we all appreciate this piece of art that CPC is making?
It's pretty great.
Right? We need to put this in the museum.
I mean,
It's a shopping mat. Or a tablet.
I don't know what this is anymore. It can be a tablet.
Now it's a drawing pad.
Yeah.
I thought it was a chopping board at first. Okay.
It's whatever you see when you look at it.
Clipboard.
There, I'll give it a button.
There we go. But the tablet pens don't draw physically on if it's like a Wacom.
My pen is drawing physically on the screen.
Yeah, well, you have a pen display, but this is more like
Well, then this is a pen display. Use your imagination.
I suppose we have to use imagination for a lot of this. I'm just gonna mix it up.
I used up all my artistic ability drawing eyes and fluff.
Yes, well that's where
It
it's
ran
most
out.
needed.
All right. Shall we call this a day?
Yes. We're
Okay.
getting to that silly.
Congratulations, it's a day.
We
Oh,
just have-
thanks.
We
and a
just have
penny.
to. We have to stream. That's the rules of the neighborhood. Yes, we finish when we stream for long enough that we get into silly territory.
Well, we start in silly
I
territory.
think today,
Well,
when
we
we
start
started
silly,
in silly
That's
territory.
silly, and then we have to get into like super silly. Like we've been doing this for too long, silly. And then some days we start already in that zone. But yeah.
All right. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.